All right, party people, who's got some brags? Let's get this thing started right. Let's get a good, healthy approach. And then we got a strategy call that is a reminder, but it's a game changer. And I'm going to read a text I got from a longtime former member that basically graduated to retirement not that long ago. Not fully, but in many ways, um, to kick us off. But before that, who's got brags? Let's hear them.
I had some feedback on one of my listings that was coming in like 50% of the feedback saying that the house was backwards. It had like a backwards orientation. And so I flipped that in the mindset and I started proactively calling all the showing agents who had scheduled and just saying, like, hey, make sure you follow the sidewalk and come in by the pond so you can have the wow factor and come in the front way. And then we got an offer.
How about that? About using a little bit of data to your advantage, controlling the information. That's what we teach in the inspection module, is you want to be in control of that information. Way to go. I like it. I like it a lot. Who's got some brags? Who else? Anyone?
Um, I will be the owner of a new brokerage as of June 1st.
How about that? June 1st. Let's talk a little bit more about that here in a minute, but I like the sound of it. How many days have you been home this month?
Me?
Yep.
Lots. Why?
Because I feel like you've been at 11 events in the last 5 days.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, I was in Nashville a week ago for a couple days, but
Listen, I sometimes I believe your social media presentation. That's on me. That's my fault. No, we want to talk about the brokerage situation very soon.
yeah, I haven't been on vacation with my wife, so that's
Yeah,
the
so none of that counts. You still get to go travel more.
yeah.
All right, we'll circle back to that for sure. Who's got more brags? Your brain, you know what I'm about to say. Your brain needs to hear your voice. Say the positive stuff out loud. So do that. Practicing the fine art of letting the silence sit so you guys can speak up whenever.
Well, I have a brag. I have been fortunate enough to be able to sit with Gibson on several of like a booking of like a new client, and I actually get to go see some showings with him on Friday. So that to me is very good.
Yeah, that's
Live
huge.
experience out here that I've got to sit with. Been fortunate enough to this morning. Lots of it.
Yeah, Kevin and Steph are full throttle into agent and training on our team. So they are eyeball deep, if not more, in all of our stuff. And they're getting on the phones a little bit and getting to get into some live action shadowing agents. So good stuff. I like it. I like it a lot. What else? Who else has some brags for me? Two more. Come on. Little, big, personal, professional. This is important. It's important for your psychology. Careful, Brian. If Matt knows what's going on here, there could be hand grenades involved. Nobody else has a brag? Just nothing positive, nothing accomplished, nothing implemented, nothing learned.
Yeah, we're at a
Oh, oh, Brian
I
dropped
think that we
completely.
lost. I'll go. There you go.
sorry, we're at a,
Oh,
we're
Brian's
at the
back. Hold
airport.
on.
We're at a Palm Beach. Was nice. Um,
Yeah, you can.
yeah, it was nice. Get away. We even use some more time. Huh? But I learned a lot of good features about AI and how it can best. So excited about it. Your favorite topic?
Yeah.
Love it. Good stuff. I know you guys are busy. They're just coming off an event, getting a little bonus time for them, I think, hopefully. Um, Learning the fine art of getting away from your business to improve your business a little bit more than they have for a while. So that's a beautiful thing. Um, what else? Give me one more brag. I think DM is currently inside of her chicken coop, so that's why she's not currently unmuted. Um, we'll confirm that shortly, but I have evidence that that is accurate. Um, one more? Oh, yep, she's on the hot rod. I guess that means you got your social media account back, though. That's good news.
Yeah, I mean it's semi back. Just have to rebuild. But no, I didn't time. We added some baby chicks, and I didn't time my schedule right, so I have to monitor. And I'm like, oh, I have my call at 2 o'clock. Um, but I sold one of my listing that was listed with another agent for 233 days with no action, and the seller wrote a really good Google review, but then he also, like a week after, sent a really nice email, uh, like another thank you. So that's my brag.
That's huge. Love it. Um, also the eggs, fresh eggs, always a good brag. Okay, I like it. I love it. I'm not going to stop pushing all of us through the awkward discomfort, whatever. I'm not going to stop pushing you to brag. It's not going to happen because it is still true that the vast majority of people, your mental psychology, your behavior is to focus on the problems, the challenges, the negatives, the frustrations, the annoying client, the things that are hard. Maybe you're the most optimistic person you know, but data would say, research would say, you're still often, as a business owner, as a salesperson, as someone in this world, bogging down a bit in the negative. And you have to deliberately, willfully, on purpose manage the positivity, manage your emotion, manage the balance of bringing the positives to your mind. So keep it up. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we're together for Mastermind next week. We always do, we always will. But I want to revisit a topic that is, as always, applicable to everyone here, but is one of those things that often feels really big, feels really ambitious, and I think is probably only really heavily considered when we're together or when you're in your optimistic planning mode, but is probably not thought of on a day-to-day basis enough. So I'm going to read you all a text and I'll filter all the unnecessary information here that I got Monday from Teresa. Those of you that know Teresa Bastian in the Austin area, she's a stud. She said, I'm officially oversubscribed. And I even used that line with a seller this past week. I so value the things I learned in your. Okay, so she gets really complimentary. She's very kind. Um, and then she said she spoke with a younger agent in her market who's not in the same exact neighborhood that needs this coaching, who's doing great. She wants to send him our way. But the big point is she has in pseudo semi not really retirement, but in a very comfortable season of her business, she has achieved what was a long running goal as a member of coaching and mastermind. So, what the heck am I talking about? Who has worked on, is working on implementing the idea of being oversubscribed into your business? Real question. Who can even define what the heck I'm talking about? Anyone? What do I mean when I say oversubscribed?
you have more people coming to you than you can even take on at one time. And so you have to say, create a waiting list. You don't need to go out and pursue leads because they're coming to you. It's an influx and it's more than you can take on.
Right. So if a hot dog vendor is oversubscribed, he's got 50 hot dogs in the bin and he's got 100 people in line, right? So what do you think is like, let's just use the hot dog vendor. What is that guy likely to do, or girl, whatever? What's he likely to do if he's got 50 hot dogs and 100 people want to buy a hot dog from him? What is likely to happen in that situation?
Either going to get more hot dogs or he's going to raise his price.
Yeah, what if I'm the 51st person in line? What am I likely to do or be willing to do? Anyone?
Pay more for the hot dog.
Yeah. Hey, I know hot dogs are $1, but I'll give you $3 if I can get a hot dog before this guy. Because otherwise, there's no hot dogs, right? Now, you could go on and on and on with the metaphor or the example of, well, not if there's another hot dog vendor 10 feet away, but what if there was no other hot dog vendors in town? All those are factors of how you would run your business. But Matt's exactly right. You either got to go create more capacity, get more hot dogs, or you're likely to raise your price, have to raise your price, get to raise your price, whatever the case is. So, oversubscribed, to Mari's definition, is having more demand than you can supply, having more interest than you can or will or want to satisfy. Is everyone clear on that? Okay, now I would love for you to have your camera on and visibly respond here. How many of you want your business to be oversubscribed? How many of you want to have more demand than you can supply? I think that's everyone. I didn't see a single person who didn't raise your hand. And I know how annoying that y'all think those questions are sometimes, but it's important for you to acknowledge, yes, I really do want that. I want it enough to raise my hand. I want it enough to acknowledge it publicly in front of my board of advisors, okay? So here's my follow-up question. If you can speak up, unmute. If you cannot, type it in the chat. What are you doing about it? What are you doing to make sure that your business is oversubscribed, that you have more demand than you could supply, so that raising your prices is just one of the things you could do. Now, what if I have 50 hot dogs, I have 100 people in line, and 10 people in line are being jerks? What could I do?
Don't sell to the pain in the ass one.
Yeah, I could tell them, get out of my freaking line. Quit being a jerk. I got 2 people for every hot dog. I don't need jerks. Get out. Go someplace else. Quit asking me to show you 10 houses a week because one of these days you're going to buy a bunch of houses. Right? Quit asking me to show you houses without signing a rep agreement. I got a bunch of people that want to buy houses. I don't take people out without rep agreements. I can be more selective, right? That's one of the other benefits. Okay, so same question. If you want to be oversubscribed and you are not right now fully oversubscribed, what are you doing about it? Real question. I'm waiting for answers. Nothing is an honest answer if that is somebody's answer. Steph says, make more prospecting calls. That's something you could be doing. What are y'all doing right now so that you have more demand than you could supply?
I think
By the
one
way,
of the things you can do, you need to communicate that you are in fact oversubscribed.
if you are currently oversubscribed, then with integrity, you can communicate that, and you should.
Right.
If you are oversubscribed and you're not communicating it, you're, what's the word I'm looking for?
Let's go with Dingleberry.
Dingleberry, doofus, stupid face, idiot, moron, clown, unprofessional, wannabe business owner. Anybody? I mean, we could keep going with synonyms for silly person, wasting opportunity, unprepared. I might have used stronger language, but dingleberry will work. Okay. Um, who here wants to be oversubscribed, but you actually are not currently oversubscribed. So you can't say right now, ethically, hey, I am oversubscribed. Okay, so Steph's still in training. She says no. Matt says no. Brian says no. Mari says no. So we have people at all ends of the brand new agent, team leader, brokerage owner. We have the whole spectrum there, all saying, I'm not there yet. How would you know if you were there? Real question. Okay, DM says, I'm not oversubscribed, but I am at my max capacity that I would like to be at any one time. So let's call that fully subscribed. You don't have more people than you need. You have like exactly as much as you want, which is a great place to be. But you know what's better? A little bit more demand. Because how's DM going to feel next month if one or two deals fall through and the phone doesn't ring much for a couple of weeks? Not as confident, right? She's probably shouldn't be scared, but not as confident. All of a sudden, it's like, ooh, I don't have quite as much as I wanted. So what's great is to be oversubscribed. And the best, you know, synonym for oversubscribed, someone used it a minute ago, is a waiting list, to have a waiting list. So right now, DM's like, I have as much as I want. I don't have way more than I want, but I don't have less than I want. I want a lot and I have a lot. It's a great business. But if it went down a little bit, I would feel it. I would notice that, and I wouldn't be in complete control. So if I had, you know, 10 potential clients and I only wanted 5, I got twice as much as I want. If I lose one, oh well. If the phone doesn't ring for a week or two, oh well, I can pull from my waiting list. Somebody who is willing to wait 90 days, I could call them and say, "Hey, I've got some availability next week. Would you want to take advantage of it?" And one of them will, right? So that level of being oversubscribed, that level of waiting list alleviates, makes the business even better than I have all that I want. Does that make sense? Do we want that? Right? These are silly questions, but I ask them out loud so you answer them out loud so that your body responds, so that you can lock this in consciously and subconsciously. Okay, so what could you do? I asked the question, how would you know if you were oversubscribed? Does anyone have an answer for me? Okay, let me give you the answer if no one wants to say it, right? First thing you have to do, and a lot of you have heard me teach this before, but we're not there yet. So we're revisiting it because it's one of the best things you could do for your business is to have a waiting list, to truly be oversubscribed, to be able to advertise and market that way, to have that level of confidence with hiring, firing, recruiting, being selective, price points, areas, commission rates. Okay. So, number one thing you got to do is and you all need to write this down and then you need to try to answer it. You need to determine your capacity to surprise and delight your clients. Okay, so Kelly, if you did not have to surprise and delight your clients, if you just had to like get a deal done, how many buyers could you handle at once, do you think? All you got to do is like get them in the door, get the contract signed, and get them to closing. How many buyers do you think you could handle at one time?
Maybe 2 a week.
What'd you say?
2 a week.
2 a week. So let's say your average buyer cycle is like 6 weeks ish. So you could handle like 12 clients in a 6 week cycle. Is that fair? Ish. Okay. Now let me come back to you, Kelly. If you had to achieve, every one of your clients achieves your maximum value. They're delighted. 5-star review, repeat client, refers their friends. wants to be friends with you forever. How many could you do that for and with at any one time? If you could do 12, like just get it done, knock it out, grind it out, get through finish, get through closing, how many could you do at the maximum value, repeat referral, 5-star, world-class level?
I'm gonna say maybe 8.
Okay, maybe 8. So 2/3, right? 33% less. So we have to know that number. We have to know, what is my capacity to delight, surprise clients with value, to over deliver, to knock it out of the park, world class value. Now, Chris, have you had different capacities at different points of your life and career?
Not at all.
Did you have a different capacity for
Yeah.
clients in a period where you're having an organ transplant than you did
Mhm.
when you were 30
Yes.
and fancy free? Yeah,
Yeah.
wildly different capacity, right?
hmm I'm actually
Okay.
coming out of a low capacity state right now.
Yeah,
So like,
into a higher capacity state,
yeah.
right? Yeah, maybe
hmm
not highest capacity, but
Mm-mm.
higher capacity, right? Gibson, have you had higher or lower capacity with babies in the house?
Low.
Lower capacity for real estate sales, delight, and surprise. Does anyone think that's a bad thing? That Gibson sacrificed some professional capacity to care for his wife and children. Does anyone think that's bad? No, that's not bad. But did your capacity change? So would your ability to be oversubscribed change? Yes. Jeremy, have you been oversubscribed in your business at any point?
Yes,
How did that happen? What did that look like? What was the measurements that you knew for sure I'm oversubscribed right now?
I could hardly sleep without having things to do, and I was booked 2 weeks in advance on my calendar. I couldn't, if somebody wanted to work with me, I couldn't get them in for 2 weeks almost.
Yeah, and at any point during that period, did you have at least a little bit of fear, anxiety, or concern that, man, I might not be delivering 10 out of 10 world-class value if I took on more,
Yeah,
right? And I've been there where you're like, I already took on a little too much, and I'm not quite as good as I could be if I had a little bit less going on, right? Now, the obvious question, Jeremy, has there also been times in your business where that wasn't true? You were not oversubscribed, right?
yep,
So you know the difference, right? And so you would be able to know the difference even better in the future.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so step one, everybody, is to determine what is your capacity right now to delight, surprise, over deliver, to deliver world-class value to your clients. You should write that down right now. Now, if it's Tanya or Brian, what's the team's capacity? Maybe it's what's your capacity for agents, right? Kevin and Steph, you guys are going to have to figure this out and you're going to have to trust some of our numbers until you establish your own, right? Kevin, do you think right now already your number might be different than Steph's?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I could think of a million reasons. Life stage, demands on your time, location, database, fear of influence. There's a lot of reasons that's it's always different. But I can tell you for a new agent, and Kevin, you've done some real estate, so you're not like never done real estate new, but for a new agent in our world, you're gonna feel at capacity. Most people feel at capacity with one deal when it's your first deal. It's all I can think about. There's an amendment out there. I can't prospect right now. I'm waiting on a callback. Like it's all you can think about. And then you're going to look up in 6 months and be like, oh, I could do a couple of deals a month without going crazy. And then you'd look up in 2 years and you'd go, I've had 6 or 8 clients closing all within like 4 or 5 weeks. And it was crazy, but I could do it. Right. So capacity changes. So for Steph and Kevin, I would say right now, I would put your capacity to surprise and delight at two buyers or like three sellers, and we'll determine which direction you guys are going to go. But right out of the gate, that's your capacity. Now it will increase rapidly. Most of the time, a better than average buyer specialist is going to say, I start feeling capacity in that 4 to 6 closings a month range, where I'm like, if I had any more, I won't be as good. I will lose. I cannot deliver this value if I add more. And for a typical marketing specialist in a high capacity environment, that looks like 6 or 8 closings a month. More than that, and I'm not adding as much value, or I need more help. Okay. Those numbers might feel really high. For newer agents, you heard me just say 2 or 3. For a good agent on a good team, depends on how much team support they have, but those are some round numbers to work on. Now, if you know your own numbers for your brokerage or your team or your personal portfolio, production pipeline, then you need to think, okay, I know the real estate math, but now I need to think about the season of life I'm in. Is there a baby? Is there travel? Do I really need to free up my calendar and I'm willing to push for maximum production and income? Did I just commit to a big volunteer commitment and I'm willfully going to be a little bit less professionally available for a while? Or am I like locked and loaded, young, single, super aggressively motivated right now, and I've got the most capacity I'm ever going to have in my life? Where are you right now? Write down your capacity to surprise and delight, not just to survive the deals, but to deliver world-class value. You should be writing a number down. Okay, next question. If you had a gun to your head, if somebody had your mother or your child hostage, and you had to go get enough clients to be oversubscribed, to have a waiting list, to have more than you could surprise and delight, what are the top 3 things you could and would do to go get more business than you could currently serve at a world-class level? Did my question make sense? If you absolutely had to go get as much or more business that you could handle, what are the top 3 things you could and would do to go get that business? For your brokerage, for your team, for yourself, for your agents, whatever the case is.
Weekly lunches.
Okay. So sphere of influence touches, lunches, coffees, breakfast, whatever your version of what Gibson just said is. He's saying for him, one of his top 3 would be personal face-to-face interaction with his sphere, with his circle.
Easy.
What else on that list? Anyone else?
Double prospecting time or numbers.
Yeah, double your time prospecting, or double your calls, or double your touches, or double your open houses, whatever you're defining as your most productive prospecting could easily be calling home search leads, calling seller valuation leads, calling property tax protest requests leads, calling back radio leads, following up with open house leads, doing an open house. What
That
would
and
that look
chase.
like? Go ahead.
I was gonna say chasing more business around the business that you are actively working and closing for buyers, whether that's sending the neighborhood that I just closed in, just recreating those opportunities inside of what I'm already actively, doing.
Yeah, expanding on what's already working, whether that's relationships, closed buyers, closed listings. I like it. I like it a lot. What would that look like for, oh, cameras just went off. Okay. What would that look like for you, Matt, in your world if it was like, I know my capacity now. What are the top three things we could go do that I feel are pretty reliable that could get us that, if not more than that, to exceed that capacity?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, it would be something sphere related, right? I feel like I'm unique in the fact that I don't traditionally, right? And I don't make phone calls. I don't, it's all past client referral inbound. So I would clearly, touch my past clients with maybe some emails and some phone calls, just reaching out, probably more like Gibson, getting in front of them, do some coffees, some lunches, you know, because that's where my current business comes from. To me, that would be the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, so do more of that or go a little farther with that than you have in the past. Actually calling that list, not just
Yeah,
picking up when they call.
correct.
You could do a newsletter or a mailer to that group. You could host events for that group. You could do coffees, lunches, breakfast. You could do small group events. You could do a client gift with a little survey to trigger some response. But those would all be things you could do with the group where all your business is currently coming from, right? What about something outside of your existing sphere?
What were outside of my existing sphere? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, you're cutting out pretty bad, so you might not have even heard me, but I was just saying outside of what's already working, what would be one of the first things you would add?
I'd add video on different social platforms. Something I'm
Yeah,
not
just
doing enough of
imagine,
that I need to do more of. Just
yeah, just
becoming the local
imagine if you
authority.
could like exponentially multiply your social content and do that for all three future market areas with a little tiny bit of like paid promotion just to your list and a lookalike list and retargeting just to stay in front of them more and more and more.
Yep,
Not even necessarily pursuing like cold new business, but people you don't know, but people that know the people you do know.
yep, yep.
Yep. Okay. Who else knows your capacity and knows one or two or three things you could do if you had to go and exceed that capacity with opportunity and demand? What do you think, David Goss? What is your capacity? And if you had to exceed it to feed your grandchildren, because they weren't going to be fed any other way, what could you do to go exceed your capacity?
Well, I've been thinking about this. I tried a few years ago I think it's me having many get together, like dinner parties, like little patio get togethers with friends. I think, even after 10 years now, I think some of my closest friends are like, well, hey, now it's time to start referring in business just in the last year or two.
Yep.
So I feel like I haven't. I mean, I pursue my A's pretty hard in my inner circle, but I need to pull in the B's up to A's. And I
Yeah,
probably
C's,
need to,
C's to B's and B's to A's. Some of the C's will go all the way to A.
yeah. And I
So what
think
do you
you
think
do
your
good
capacity
events.
is?
Yeah.
What do you think your
Well,
capacity right now is
um,
to delight
I mean,
clients?
with the what?
To delight them? Like, what's your capacity to be at your very best? How many could you handle?
I usually say between 6 and 8 is kind of when I get above 8, I freak out. That's when I start freaking. And last week I went below 4. I was down to 3 and I was freaking the other way. And then you handed me one, Jeremy handed me one, and I found one on my own. So now I'm back to 6.
Yeah, I like it. So let's say 8 is your max capacity and you're currently at 6. So 2 does not get you oversubscribed. 3 gets you oversubscribed.
Right.
So if you had 3 people call you today and say, David, I got $800,000 cash and I really want to buy a house by June. What would you say today? Like unfiltered before this call, what would you say?
Well, you know me. I would say, come on, when do we meet? Let's go.
Right. Okay. So you would say that gracefully and with kindness and all that stuff. But now as your broker, I don't like this because you just told me after 8, you can't deliver world-class value anymore. And now we have 9.
Right.
So I'm like, look, I get it. I want you to take it too, but we got a problem. You just admitted to me that either one or all 9 are not going to get our best. So
Right.
what could you do after this call that would be better for them and better for you?
Well, in a perfect world, I'd speed up Steph's training and give her a couple.
That works. The other option is you could say, hey, Chris, I am so glad you called.
That was my answer too.
I'm so glad you called and you trust me with your real estate. I've got some good news and some almost as good news. The good news is I am currently like at my maximum capacity where I can really, really, really deliver world-class value to my clients. The almost as good news is I can still help you. I do have a short waiting list right now just because I try not to take on new clients when I cannot promise you my very, very best. And I'm right at that limit. And I would not want to promise you my best and not be able to deliver it. But 2 of my clients will be closing in the next 2 weeks. So if you and I could sit down like the very last week of April and get our ducks in a row and be ready to start this process May 1st, I can still promise you my very, very best. I just need to put you on my waiting list for like 2 weeks. Do you think you could afford 2 weeks to make sure that you still get the very best that my team and I could offer? What do you think Chris is likely to say? Kevin, what do you think Chris would say in that situation?
I think Chris would say, that'd be fine. I got 2 weeks.
Okay, now what's the worst thing that you think Chris would say in that situation? Realistically.
I can't wait, right?
Yeah. Hey, David,
We
that
gotta
sounds
sell.
great for you, but I'm in a hurry and I can't wait. So, what could everyone on this call do in that situation? Anyone have any thoughts? What would you do? You went out and did the work. You got yourself oversubscribed. You just told someone that. 8 out of 10 are going to be like, man, good for you. That's amazing. Yeah, 2 weeks, no big deal. I'd be happy to wait. But the 1 or 2 out of 10 are going to say, I'm in a pinch. I really can't wait. What could you do, Brian?
Refer it to a team member, split the commission, just make sure that they're taken care of.
Refer it to a team member. Worst case, refer it to another agent.
Yeah.
Or could you that's what I was looking for, by the way. That's the right answer. But let's say you don't have anyone that you trust to refer them to. What if I said, hey, Chris, I totally understand. Of course, I respect that. Would you be willing to give me 24 hours to connect with the rest of my list and see if one of them might be willing to wait and give you their spot to jump in right away? Could you give me 24 hours to circle back with you? What do you think Chris is going to say then, Kevin?
I'd say that was fair.
Yeah. And do you think as we're going through this, even the 20% Chris or 10% Chris that isn't willing to wait, do you think they see more value or less value in me and my business?
A lot more value.
Do you think they trust me more or less?
Well, my opinion would be, wow, this guy's in high demand.
Yeah, and
I've
he's
got
the
a
real
winner.
deal.
Yeah.
He's really willing to hold firm to this waiting list thing. Now, here's the real bonus. How do you think they're going to feel if they get somebody else's spot?
Just won the lottery.
Heck yeah. Not only I got my guy, I didn't have to wait, but somebody else got bumped. And I shouldn't appreciate that, but I kind of like it. So now, are you better off or worse off than if you had not been oversubscribed and you had been begging for business and you had said, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I can meet you tomorrow"? Which scenario is better? Anyone? Which scenario is better for me?
Oversubscribed.
The one where I'm oversubscribed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
here's the interesting thing. Which scenario is better for that client?
That you're oversubscribed.
Oversubscribed. Yeah.
How do they feel? We just talked about how they felt. They felt like, man, I'm really impressed. Wow, I called the right person. Wow, I just got somebody else's spot. Wow, this is real. He really doesn't have capacity. Wow, I really appreciate that he's not willing to just take on more clients if he can't, if he or she can't do it really, really well. So they are happier, they're more confident, they're more calm and trusting. They're going to sleep better. They're going to end up with a better real estate experience because you were oversubscribed. It's not just selfish. I want more clients. I want more money. I want a higher fee. It's better for them as well. When do you think somebody is a more confident client? When they drop their car off at a barn in the wilderness, when someone said, "I know a guy who can fix your car cheap," or when they drop it off at the dealership and they're like, "Yeah, we do this 27 times a day. It'll be ready tomorrow at 10." Don't worry about price. In which scenario are they more confident?
Dealership.
Yeah. Now, it's not about the volume, it's about the confidence. It's about the fact that there's oversubscription. Other people also trust them. That makes me feel better, right? So, I'll ask you again, who wants this in your business? Okay. What are you going to do about it? I'm saving some time, Matt, so we can talk about your acquisition. What are you going to do about it? Hopefully, you just wrote down your capacity and what you would do to exceed it. I know this is going to blow your mind, but if you'll work on list number 2, you can get number 1. If you'll go and do the things that you already know will work to get more clients, and you'll get more clients than your capacity, you can refer, put them on a waiting list. Absolute worst case scenario. Piss someone off, lose a deal, and have them go tell people that you have a waiting list, which isn't that bad either. You know, I called Kelly and she was so busy, she tried to put me on her waiting list. I can't believe it. I went over here and used Tanya. The person that just heard that, what are they thinking, Kelly?
Maybe I'm better.
They're like, dang, Kelly sounds legit. Now, maybe again, 1 out of 10 are like, what a brat. She thinks she's too good for us now. You know, maybe 2% would actually do that. The vast majority of people will be like, dang, I've never heard of a real estate agent with a waiting list. She must be legit. Only real estate agents I've ever known of are trying to shove their business card in my hand at every party, and they're obnoxious and they want me to come visit their open house, which I never want to do. Right? Okay, so I think we've proven the point. Anybody have questions or comments? Does anybody feel like this is BS? This doesn't work. There's no way. Or do you have questions about this before we transition really quickly and talk a little bit about Matt's acquisition? And then before we wrap up, a couple quick announcements about Mastermind next week. Any questions? Any comments? Any confessions?
That's a good one.
Okay, everybody said they want this. Everybody should have just defined your capacity. And then everybody should have just made a list of the most reliable things you could go do to achieve being oversubscribed. So, my suggestion is you spend the next 3 to 6 months on strategy calls in Mastermind working on how you get here. It works seamlessly with all the other things you're doing, whether it's recruiting, scripting, listing process, buyer process, fee structure, marketing, all that works together to help you get to oversubscribed. The goal is not how much do I need to earn to make a living to feed my family. No, it's how many people can I and do I want to delight with world-class value? And then how do I communicate that for their benefit and mine? You're going to make way more money and have way more impact this way than just trying to grind to barely get to your number. It's also way more fun. Okay, Matt, really quickly, what's the update on putting this deal together?
Closes on June 1st.
All right. And do you want to share anything about structure? Do you want to share anything about, did you get what you wanted? Did you get more than you wanted? Are you happy? Are you nervous? What's up?
I'm very happy. I mean, I'm obviously, there's a little bit of nerves, right? I mean, it's a pretty big, in my world, right? It's a pretty big acquisition. But right, I've got a lender that I've built a really good relationship with over the last few years, and they are all in, and so that is extremely comforting and helps a lot on the back end. Just knowing that they are in my corner, they want it to succeed. They're with me. Their strategy. I mean, everything's in house, old school, but they're cramming and coming up with unique scenario. Okay, all right, we could do this and this and this to make it like this. It's like, okay, right. So they're very much in my corner, strategizing on making sure we pull this off and it's success. Not just pull it off, but that I have success, right? That I'm set up to be successful, not set up to be, really stressed out and, in over my head out of the gate. So no, it's going to be, I mean, it's kind of exactly what I was hoping for. He's very old school. So things that would even make you cringe, like he doesn't have a book of business. He doesn't have a client list. He can't tell me who he sold houses to last year. Right. I mean, he could go dig it up somewhere maybe, but they're all in file boxes in the basement, So, there's some of that's going to be task on my end on creating a database of some past client stuff, but it's
we can dig into a lot of the detail.
It's an untapped gold mine in my opinion. He's crushing the market and he is doing everything like it's 1975.
Which tells you two things. That can still work.
It can still work, and there's massive room for growth.
Yeah. So we'll dig into the specifics when we're together next week in Mastermind. But just for everyone's benefit, real quick, did you get the dollar amount that you wanted?
Yep. 1.35 is the agreed upon price, and that's everything
for the real estate and the business and everything. Golly, that's the value of the real estate. That's incredible. That's amazing. All right, and you feel like the people and the time and all that is going to
everything's lining up. Yeah, I've got an absolute. Well, John, which I don't know, none of you guys have probably met John. He maybe has been on a role play call or two, but he's just getting his feet wet. He's going to be going full time here in the next couple months. He's amazing. I have an absolute stud in the pipeline who's going to wait, and we're just going to hang he's going to hang his license down there at the new office.
Yep.
He is going to, I mean, to say he's going to crush it is going to be an understatement. And so I feel like everything's just, the timing of it's going to be really, really good. We're going to be able to get in and just start rocking. And And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for, I enjoy the fact that he's 1975s because that just means there's lots of things I can tweak and change and implement new systems and growth and
Yep.
um
I'm
but
gonna
yeah,
I'm gonna
it's gonna
spoil
be good.
my big nugget for you, which we'll certainly deliver on next week at Mastermind. But it is also going to be, what can you learn from him in the transition,
Yep.
right? Because something he's doing is working really well. Now we know that he's leaving a lot of opportunity with just disorder and old school, but there's also something you may be able to learn from that, bring it up to your main
Yeah.
office or the Northwoods, and
Yep.
everybody wins with confidence and humility. So I love it. And we'll unpack that together next week. So on that note, we will be together, mastermind members, primary members. We will be together next week, Wednesday and Thursday. Tim had posted in the Slack channel, is anybody interested in dinner uh, Tuesday? I know a lot of times DM will kind of coordinate something, but I'm just reminding y'all, if you're going to be here and you want to try to coordinate something like that, check the Slack channel. As always, we'll go out together Wednesday night, and I've got a pretty cool surprise for everybody on that one. A new spot that I think you guys will really, really like. And then we'll do the normal 9 to 5 day one, 9 to 4 day two. We'll be in the office again this time. We got a couple of new team members for you to meet. Lots of really awesome stuff that Ian and I are working on. Some that's a little bit early to share too much about, some that we're really eager to share with you about in a couple of separate sessions outside of Hot Seats. So all that's happening in real time. If you have any questions about hotels or restaurants or food or time or transportation or anything, most of you should already know all that. But if you have it, email Ian or jump in the Slack. So we'll make sure that nothing gets missed or is slipped up on at all. If you have a topic that you know you would really like to discuss, email me or Slack me that as well. And I am assuming everyone will do a hot seat. If for some reason you don't want to, you can let me know virtually or in person on Mastermind. If you have not let Ian know, I know a lot of you had let Grady know, but if you haven't let Ian know, whether you're in person, virtual, or fully dirtbagging this thing, please let Ian know by email. We just want to make sure that our numbers are right for food and drinks and going out and staying in and all the good stuff. It's going to be a really good one. I've got a lot I want to share, probably more than I'm going to be able to share with you in my time. But hot seats will be, as always, excellent. So if you're going to be virtual, move every mountain you can to be there as much as you can the whole time, ideally distraction free. If you're going to be in person, lock and load, prepare ahead of time to know what's your share, what's your positive share, and then what's the one thing we can help you with the most. Don't sit down on a hot seat and try to think of that at the last minute. Plan ahead. What's the one thing you could get out of this that would change your life and business the most? What's the one thing you could share that would help other people the most? Otherwise, no calls next week, no role player strategy, but we will be together Wednesday, Thursday for Mastermind, and it's going to be a really, really good one. So, good conversations, a lot of good sharing from us, good food, good times. Plus, you get to meet Kevin and Steph.